This episode is brought to you by CBD TV, your one-stop shop for all your CBD needs. Use code FRESHOUT to get 15% off your next order. What's up, everybody? Big Herc getting down fresh out, and you tuned into another interview. And man, we got a hitter today. We got somebody very special, and it's a pleasure being able to have this gentleman on our show. This guy has accomplished something that people on the street haven't been able to accomplish. He served 25 years in prison, made $1 million in prison, lost $1 million in prison, got out, made several more million. And he has a hell of a story, man. And when you guys talk about success, he's the epitome of success. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to have him here so we can start chopping it up and sharing with you guys. We have Michael from CBD TV. And Mike, man, your story is amazing, man. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you made your first $1 million in prison.
Yeah, I'd like to say that it was all skill, but the reality is luck beats skill every time. And that's the simple way of saying it. The reality is when I went to prison, I went in with a different mindset. The mindset was, I know I'm going to be here for a long time, but my thought process is, how am I going to emerge? How am I going to walk out? And a lot of people in prison that talk about the best way to serve time is to forget about the world outside and just focus on doing time inside. But the people that's given that message are generally people that keep coming in and keep going out and coming back in, going out and coming back in. And I didn't want any part of that. So I had to start thinking about what can I do? And I can tell you I was inspired by leaders. And leaders taught me that you got to start planting seeds today for the success that you want to become tomorrow. That focused me on saying I'm going to get my education first. And so my first few years in prison, I was obsessed with getting an education. And I got an undergraduate degree within 4 years. I got a master's degree by the time I was in my 6th or 7th year. And then I was in a doctoral program.
Oh, wow.
And I was studying, you know, when I tried to get into these programs, they said, well, you know, what do you want to study? I can tell you that I've always felt that mass incarceration is a problem in our society because I was serving time with people that had their grandfathers in there, their fathers in there, the children were in there, and it was a bad situation.
And what was your charge, so people?
Yeah, I got arrested when I was 20 years old. I started trafficking in cocaine. I got arrested when I was 23. I was sentenced to 45 years in prison, but I was under the old law. So under the old law, I could satisfy that sentence in 26 years.
Okay.
So I was obsessed with saying during this first decade, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out a way to get an education. I'm going to figure out a way to contribute to society in meaningful ways. And I'm going to build a support network. And that pathway is what's going to change my life. So it was undergraduate school first, master's degree school second, doctoral program third, but that was a different era. And the warden blocked me from getting my doctorate. So when the warden blocked me from getting my doctorate—
Why did he block you?
Because he said this was the era of the start of the war on drugs. It was heavy at the war on drugs. Okay. I went into prison when Ronald Reagan was in the White House. Then the war on drugs started around 1996.
Okay.
There was this bill called the No Frills Prison Bill that was taking education and so on out of prison.
Okay.
And they believed that I'd gone a little too far. They had the power to stop my doctorate because they controlled the mailroom. So they could stop the books coming in from the University of Connecticut. Without the books, I couldn't do anything. So I had to start figuring out, what am I going to do? Well, the whole time, Herc, I was studying the market as well. And I was reading about this thing called the internet. And I truly believed that the internet was going to change the world. But all I could do was read about it. It's like reading about playing tennis. You know, you can read all the books you want on tennis, but until you get that racket in your hand, you don't know what you're doing. But all that training I did along the way of learning about the technology companies and learning which ones were really doing well, I trained myself on fundamental analysis, technical analysis, all from inside of a prison. And then after they stopped me from going to getting my doctorate, I began doing some work toward a law degree because they couldn't stop me from that because the prison had a law library in it.
Okay.
So in California, you could enroll in a university here. It's the only state of the union where you could get a law degree without going to school. So I began studying in this law school program, and some dude, his name was Gary, asked me to help him. I said, what do you want me to help you with? He said, I want you to write a brief for me or review a brief that my lawyers are doing. I said, I don't do that kind of work. And he said, look, I see you studying all the time. I'm impressed with your work ethic, and I just want you to read the documents. He said to me, money's no object. Now, this gives you a sense of what it was like for me, because I'd already been in jail for about 10 or 11 years, and I'd never made any money. I mean, they took all my money when I went to prison, so I had no money in prison. And this guy says money is no object. To give you an idea of how out of touch I was, I said, all right, it's going to cost you $2,000. And I should have said $20,000. He says money is no object. I said $2,000. So he sends me the $2,000.
Just like that.
Yeah, sends it to my sister, because she can't send it to me. So he sends it, his family sends it to my sister. My sister asked me, well, who do you know in New York? At the time I was incarcerated in New Jersey. I said, no, a lot of people. I said, why? She said, well, I got a check for $2,000 from somebody in New York. They don't tell me where it's from. It's got to be something you're doing. So I said, okay, that's cool. She said, well, what do you want me to do with it? I said, I tell you what, I've been reading about these companies on the internet that are doing really well. She says, which company? I said, Yahoo. It's this search engine. It's got an exclamation point at the end of its name. I said, I want you to buy some stock in it. She says, well, how do I buy stock? I said, simple. Go to this company called E-Trade and open a margin account, and you'll be able to buy $3,000 worth of stock with the $2,000 investment. I can borrow $1,000 on the two. And she said, well, how can I get started? I said, just let's do it on the phone right now. So I talk her through it on the phone. We open an account. She funds it with the $2,000. I buy $3,000 at Yahoo. At the time, Yahoo was trading at about, I think, $60 a share. This is like 1998. And the $60 a share comes through. I think we bought like 50 shares, because I borrowed $1,000 on the $2,000, bought 50 shares. I continue to do this guy's work. 2 months pass. I tell the guy, forget the legal case, bro. You're never going to win on this. Don't pay your lawyers. I've read this thing. Your lawyers are ripping you off. This happens a lot of times for people in prison. And he had like 9 months to go, right?
Damn.
That's all. And he says, I don't know how you do it, man. How can you be so positive and full of energy while you're in here and you've been in jail for 10 years already? And I said, it's simple. He said, what's that? I said, I've got a plan. He said, what's the plan? I said, I'm going to finish law school. You paid me $2,000. I said, I figure I can make $10,000, $12,000 a year helping other people in prison. And I've got, I think I had like 15 years to go. I said, by the time I get out, I'll have like $250,000, $300,000. And if I invest it, I'll have more. I'll be able to start my life. And he said, you really think you could do that? I said, the $2,000 you gave me, I've turned it into $6,000. He said, how? I said, it's simple. I bought this stock, Yahoo. It doubled. I bought it for 50. It doubled to 100. Then it split 2 for 1. So my 50 shares turned into 100 shares. And now it's back at like $67, $68. So it's worth $6,800, right? I've already tripled my money. He says, man, I've never understood the stock market. But I knew this guy was very wealthy at the time because I'd read all of his papers. And he said, I was going to spend this money with my lawyer. Could you just help me understand the stock market? That'll help me get through the 8 months or 9 months. I said, well, yeah, I could do that. He said, I'm going to send you $100,000.
Damn.
In prison. Okay?
$100,000.
He said, I'm going to send you $100,000. He said, I just want you to help me understand the market.
Wow.
And played. He said, I'll be your partner. He said, that's worth it for me. And I told him, I said, look, Gary, his name's Gary. I said, look, I could do that with $2,000. This is a high beta stock. It's highly volatile. It was risky. It was worth it for me to take the risk. I got 15 years in prison. But I said, if you get me $100,000, that's a fundamentally different beast.
Yeah.
I've got to be more, I would be more conservative. He says, look, I'm going to give you the $100,000 on one condition. We're going to be partners. You don't owe me anything. But here's the one condition. You can't be a pussy now. Okay? You can't be afraid of investing. I don't want you to give you $100,000 and have you go start buying all these types of stocks that don't move. You've got to be aggressive. And he said, and if you lose everything before I get out, I'll give you $50,000 just for getting me through these 8 months.
Wow.
That's how it started.
Oh, shit.
And let me tell you, he didn't even send the whole 100 because he had to send it from other countries. So he sent me 20 and then 20. By the time he'd sent me like 50, I'd already turned that into $200,000.
Damn.
Was I smart? No. I just simply believed that the internet was going to change the world.
That's right.
And I bought Yahoo and America Online, and every time the stock went up, I leveraged it and bought more. So I never had to put more money in, and by the end of before he got out of prison, we turned that, what it gave me like 50 or 60, into more than $2 million in equities. And of that $2 million in equity, I owed $1 million to the bank because I was borrowing margin against it, and that gave me $1 million. That's how I made my first $1 million from inside of a prison.
Oh, shit.
So, but it was highly volatile.
Yeah.
So money went up, but it didn't change anything to me. In fact, I've got some really funny stories about how fast it went up and what it looked like and what I had to do with my time as that rocket ship was rolling. Because I made this money in about 9 months. Okay, I went from zero to $2 million in stock with $1 million in equity within 9 months. But then the market imploded. And when it imploded, I had a lot of debt. I had $1 million that I'd borrowed from the margin. So I wasn't that concerned. The first day I lost 400 grand, but the second day when I lost another like 200 grand, I started thinking, I told him, look, Gary, this is life-changing money for me. Why don't I? And I didn't want to sell it because I'd made it all in less than a year. So there were tax implications to that.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, until I had $1.6 million of my own money, I didn't want to do it because I wanted an after-tax million. That was like my goal. It was the last time I made an investment decision based on tax. So I ended up losing of the $1 million plus in equity. I sold it. I paid the tax. I gave him back all the money that he gave, and we each took out 100 grand, and I let the rest ride. And the rest of it, because I own such really volatile stocks, they all went to zero. But that $100,000 that I left with changed my life.
Wow.
And it allowed me to get married in prison, support my wife in prison, and begin building businesses, even from prison, that I really believed could help other people grow and succeed, even if they're living in struggle.
And see, that's amazing, because I tell people all the time, what you spend your time doing and who you socialize with, it makes such a big difference. And it's the same thing on the street. Like that guy, by you helping him with one thing, turned into a whole nother avenue, and him seeing you have such confidence and good spirits, it made him feel good. In turn, he shared a blessing with you, which changed your life.
But he shared something more. It changed my life. The 100 grand changed my life because it allowed me to get married and support my wife from inside of a prison. But what it did more than that, it taught me the power of mindset, the power of networking. And you see I'm wearing this t-shirt right now. This is the product of a new business that I launched in the same way, by networking, by learning. I'm a big believer that regardless of where you are today, what bad decisions you've made in the past, what financial challenges you have, if you learn to change your mindset, you can overcome anything. I mean, I got out of prison and repeated this process many times. And that's really what I strive to do, is to show other people how they can do it by building relationships, just like the relationship that I'm super honored to be building with the Fresh Out program right now.
Hey man, I'm excited because when you reached out and we started talking, it's like, this is the energy I send out to the universe. You know, I stay with a positive message, and your message of success and what you've been able to accomplish, it inspires me. You know, I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and I just think about different ideas and different things, and having that same positive attitude. And a lot of people are like, how do you do it? It's like, well, how do you not do it? It's like, in me, it's almost like a sense of urgency. Like, it's like I can't get rid of it because this is just how I am. And I can see you have that same energy and that same drive. And I know by you explaining like a lot of your courses and how you've developed this program that's changed so many people, man, these are things that people on the street haven't been able to accomplish.
Well, it's one of the reasons that I reached out to you is because I saw that your Fresh Out series of trying to help other people, Fresh Out University, I have a similar brand, Prison Professors, where I go into prisons, teaching people who may not come from the right pedigree, may not have the financial resources behind them, may be stuck in a dead-end job, may be stuck with student loan debt. Any of those people can overcome something. I came out of prison with a 000 credit score and bought my first piece of real estate when I was still in the halfway house. And if that could happen to me, I know that anybody can do it. It's a matter of doing what you've done, Herc. Is just you look at an opportunity, you define success, then you say, I'm going to go forward with this with 100% commitment. So you got to have a strategy. You document that strategy. Then you create your tools, tactics, and resources that are going to help you. And then you measure your progress every day. And as long as you keep that triangle going, you've got the CEO mindset. That's what we teach, and that's what I really believe your students in your Fresh Out University could learn. And it doesn't matter if they want to become, if they're starting off today as a welder and they want to learn how to own their welding company. If they want to start off in real estate and understand, well, how does that whole game work? It doesn't matter if they want to understand the market, right? These are all things that I learned from in prison, but have used to accelerate my career from the day I walked out.
And upon being released, you said you were in a halfway house and you had goals set for yourself. How long did it take you to make your first million once you got out?
So my wife picked me up from the prison in Atwater, California, and we were driving to the halfway house where I'd served my last year, because I did the last year in a halfway house. And when we pulled out of the, the Central Valley and came into Oakland, and I saw across the bridge, the Bay Bridge, and I saw San Francisco, the financial center. It's the first thing I saw. I said, within 5 years, I'll make our first $1 million. And my wife looked at me, and she said, I always know you're ambitious, but I said, 5 years, I will work as hard as I did in prison out here, harder, but within 5 years, I'll do it. And the way that I did it, Herc, is really the same way I built my money in the market. As I thought about, how am I going to do it here? I had to think about strengths and weaknesses. My strength was, I'm really self-directed, I've got an insane work ethic, and I can be very disciplined. The weakness is I've been in prison for 26 years. The internet didn't exist. I'd never sent an email in my life. I'd never created a YouTube video. I remember getting out there and I was watching Fresh Out. I said, look at this dude. He's making videos about prison, right? And I'd just gotten out. This was around the same time you started your channel. But I'm learning this in the halfway house. And so I knew that because of my weakness, I'd been so unfamiliar with technology, regardless of what I read, I'd never sent an email. So I said, I'm not going to be able to make money in a job. That I understood. If I want to make $1 million, it's not going to be on a job. And then it was a matter of how much capital did I have when I came out. I walked out of prison with about $100,000 in the bank because I'd set a goal. I said, when I get out of prison, I will have enough money in the bank to pay for everything that I need, whether I get a job or not, and I'll be able to turn that, then I'm not pressured. Now I can find something. And the first job I got, I was a professor at a university. I taught for a year at San Francisco State University. Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy? I'd never been on a university campus in my life. And I went there and I'm giving them my story. And they said, do you want a job here? I'm in the halfway house. I said, what are you thinking? Landscaping? What you want me to do? They said, no, we want you to be a professor. And so I taught a year. I said, it's a funny thing, they were going to lock me up in the shoe last week for chewing gum in the visiting room. Now they want to call me professor. And so I go to the university and they're calling me professor. I said, time out. I thought I just got out of jail. Right? I'd never been on a university campus in my life, but I wrote a lot of books while I was in prison. And these were required reading. So I had planted these seeds early on in my journey that blossomed and now continue to bear fruit. So the way I knew that I was going to make money was going to be by owning assets, assets that appreciate in value. And so real estate was the right game for me. So I knew I had to find a way to start acquiring real estate, because if I can acquire real estate, I can put a tenant in there, the tenant can pay rent, the rent pays down the debt. So two things are happening. Debt's going down while the market is lifting the value of the asset going up. So I started buying real estate in 2012 when I was in the halfway house. The first project I bought was like $400,000. Now it's worth like $650. But I was able to buy it with no money down. And then when I got my credit right, because I came out with a 000 credit score, when I got my credit right, I got a mortgage. But by the time I was able to get a mortgage, the property had already appreciated by $100,000. So I didn't have to put any money down. I put no money down whatsoever. And then over the past, I've been home now, it'll be 7 years in August, when during that time the debt has come way down, the equity has gone way up, and I started tapping into that equity, borrowing more money, buying more assets, and those assets would appreciate in value. Debt, again, put tenants in there, tenants pay down the debt, property values go up, That's how you make money in real estate. It's an asset that appreciates in value, that all simultaneously has an opportunity that generates income, so it reduces debt. So I've traded, $7-8 million worth of real estate since I've come home, and did it in every way possible, making money by what you would call as non-conventional financing, where I'm doing deals with other people and they're putting up the capital. Now, once I had credit, I would borrow money from conventional financiers. And then I'd do partnerships with people. Sometimes I'd hold the property and put tenants in them. Sometimes I'd sell the property. But I really believe that real estate is a great opportunity, particularly in this era when you have so many people unemployed, so many businesses closing down. We've got to be teaching people how to create their own income streams. And I really look forward to doing that with Big Herc University.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to working with you. I think that this partnership is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be able to open a lot of doors for a lot of people who have been asking us for educational advice, information, and just creating a lot of self-made people, because a lot of people don't have that, they don't have that piggy bank they can tap into. And it's, like you said, going to college, getting out and having, $100,000 worth of debt, then going to work at Starbucks. I mean, what sense does that make?
Yeah.
So I think you're a perfect example. We look forward to doing big things with you, man. And hey, CBD TV, man.
CBD TV is an example. That's actually a case study of how I started this business with nothing but an idea, and then went and created collaborations and partnerships, because I really believe that with Black Lives Matter problems across the country, people in prison are going to be overly represented by that. I thought about 50 million people unemployed in America. There's going to be a need for people to figure out, how do I maintain some peace and calm in this era? If I've got to figure out how do I get my career back on track, I said, I'm going to not talk about it. I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do and that I'm not still doing. And so I said, I'm going to create a business out of nothing. I'm going to document every strategy of the way. And I built relationships with some of the largest CBD manufacturers, social media companies, finance companies, marketing companies, and I'm so thankful that now built a relationship with your team, and I really intend to take CBDFX into a multi-$100 million brand, and show people how this is something that is like getting into Yahoo back at the start of the internet, right? This just became legal. It's now in stores. There's a great growth opportunity, and I want to show other people how they can participate in any kind of venture that they want. But this will be a case study that I show. This is another way that I do create businesses out of nothing but an idea and a mindset.
Hey, well, we look forward to it. You guys look for the courses coming soon. There's going to be a lot of knowledge, a lot of game being passed around, and we hope to make a lot of millionaires out there. So subscribe, support Big Herc, getting down fresh out. So Michael, man, we're here, man. Big things are happening. It was a pleasure you reaching out to us, giving us the opportunity to work together. And I know we both have a vision for a level of success that's unparalleled. And just to be a part of CBD TV with you, man, I think it's a blessing. And I see a lot of big things happening in the future with us.
Well, Big Herc, I want to say the privilege is mine. You've been an inspiration to me since the day I got out of prison. I've watched your channel grow. And when I started seeing you talking about the Fresh Out University, it said something, that's something that CBD TV can get behind. It's something that prison professors can get behind. And I want to say something I don't ever, just talk about. I don't want to be this guy that's full of happy talk. So, that's why I went to the bank today and got this cashier's check for you.
Oh, wow.
To Fresh Out Productions to help fund Seed the Point for Fresh Out University. I hope that this $15,000 is the start of many more of these cashier's checks to come, to get you started in this pathway to helping people who are living in challenges, people who have to reinvent themselves after a pandemic, people that have to deal with 50 million people unemployed, people who have come out of prison, people who are in prison. Our team at cbdtv.com and Prison Professors wants to be a part of this mission. And I'm making a commitment not only with my time and my energy, but with our money. And we are going to be a part of this, and we're going to build it, and we're going to change the lives of people who want to achieve a higher potential. And I just want to thank you and congratulate you for everything you've done.
Thank you for believing in our vision and for actually supporting us. I mean, dude, we've been at this for so long, and I remember walking the track in prison when I came up with Fresh Out. And I said, one day I'm going to come out with a show that's going to help people, teach people, educate people so they don't have to come to prison to learn what I learned. And I was fortunate enough to meet my business partner, Big Ant, and, together. And we started Fresh Out in 2013, and we brought it to where it is today. And we've been able to reach people like you to share your story, which is just amazing what you've done with your life, having spent 26 years locked up, man.
Well, it's the reality is we're all on a journey, and my story may have started inside of a prison cell, but that's not what defined me. And regardless of where somebody is in society, that's not what defines them as well. Anybody can do a deal like this. Anybody can go to a big business. This is one of the top 5 brands in the world that we went to and said we wanted to collaborate with them, but it wasn't one collaboration. There was collaboration with capital partners. There was collaborations with marketing companies like Pandora Marketing. There was collaborations with social media companies. But the one that I'm most excited about is supporting formerly incarcerated people that are trying to be the change that you want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about Fresh Out, is you're all about empowering people who are living in challenging times. And that is the Prison Professors message. I am super enthusiastic about building products with you and building a long-term business that doesn't only benefit CBD TV, doesn't only benefit Prison Professors, but benefits the viewers of your amazing program. And people can learn so much from you.
So for people who don't know about CBD, what is CBD? I mean, I'm familiar with it a little bit, but for those who don't know.
Sure. So yeah, we got into CBD because the 2018 Farm Bill made it legal, and from the FDA in all 50 states. And it's because it doesn't have any THC component to it. This is purely to help an individual that has got different challenges. Maybe their muscles ache after a workout. Maybe they're not sleeping as well as they would like. Maybe they are want to have more energy. So we looked at the best brands out there, and we approached the biggest ones, and we kind of told them our vision. I said we think that this is a time for innovative change in the world, and we want to learn if we can create a collaboration. And so these CBD products are, this one here is, it might be to help somebody who has muscle aches. So after you go to the gym, I'm a runner, I run marathon distances. Another time I'll show you how I work out on a treadmill while I'm watching the Fresh Out videos on my treadmill. And after I finish, running that time, I'm 56 years old. So the body doesn't respond like I'm 25 anymore. Yeah. So this, this helps me sleep better. It helps my muscle aches. It gives me, there are different products for energy. And I just like them all. But really what I like is the message of looking at an innovative industry that's growing. We're at the ground floor of CBD. It's used in, it's sold in drugstores across America. But if you want to support the Fresh Out mission, yes, we hope that they'll visit us at CBD TV, place their orders. It comes directly to the doorstep, and it also is going to help us with the Fresh Out University. With every sale is going to contribute to this valuable products that you're creating to teach people how to invest in real estate, invest in the stock market, develop a strong mindset, develop their career. All of that is part of this mission that I know Fresh Out University is all about, and we just want to be a part of it, bro.
Hey, man, I'm truly, like I said, blessed that we are able to do this and find your brand and you as a person to believe in us enough to support us at this level, because I know with you and the people you have behind you and CBD TV, we will be able to change lives for a positive, and a lot of people out there need that in a time like this.
It's important to remember this is the first contribution with support from the community. We're going to be able to do this many, many more times.
Yes,
and we'll pay it forward by sharing the incredible wisdom that you've developed, by building a world-class channel, and that I've developed by building businesses, and hopefully we're going to show other people how they can take these same principles to reach their highest potential. This is a pursuit of excellence. CBD TV is behind it. Super enthusiastic to be collaborating with Fresh Out series.
Links in the description. Make sure you guys subscribe, support, and pick you up some CBD. And hey, big things coming. Look for the courses. Big Herc, Michael, CBD TV.
Thank you.